So I actually found out that when you talk like this, when you vent, you actually feel better, and it is therapy. It is by all accounts therapy. And the funniest thing is, you can do this. You can upload it on YouTube, and you might get zero views. You might get zero or like a couple of views, like nobody cares, and it still works. Like you just feel like, oh yeah, well, some stranger on the other side of the planet is gonna hear me talk, so it counts as talking to somebody, so you actually feel better. It's very weird. Your mind really operates on these tricks. Your mind operates on these tricks where, um, you know, you just need to know that, oh, maybe somebody will hear my ramblings one day, maybe one guy. And even if nobody does, even if it's like zero views, you're like, well, I have a radio show, maybe somebody will discover it one day after the war, and you feel better. It's like you went to therapy, right? It's like you don't need to go to therapy. The thing is that you need is like, you need to vent, just like a woman, and that's if you're accumulating stress. If you have no past trauma, if you have no stress, then you're not gonna need to vent anything right now, right? So people vent because they have accumulated annoyances, right? So venting is a perfectly healthy process. It's how your mind and body heals. Like you wanna talk about it, you wanna bitch about it, you wanna vent, right? And it could be to yourself. You could talk to yourself like a crazy person. You could talk to a friend or your family, and it's gonna be better than talking to a fucking therapist. Therapists are fucking morons, okay? And like I gotta tell you, if I'm more famous one day, if I happen to be way more famous one day, and people are like sending me like their troubles so I can talk on video, I can give them solutions, I become like a YouTube therapist, self-help. And people reading my book, and it's like, I'm always gonna tell you, for most problems, you gotta find solutions to the problems, and you just like talk about it to your family, talk about it to a friend, even online chat, even just like having some friends on a Discord, and it works perfectly well. Okay, so having a bunch of friends, listen to your podcast, whatever. Where's my pen? Control. Boy, having a few friends, it's an amazing life hack, because not only do you feel better when you talk, not only do you feel better, but it makes working out more fun. When you work out, if you know that you're making a video, you kind of get excited to do better, that people are going to see you. So you're like, man, I really want to do this. It's going to be so cool. And you get excited, right? And you don't need to record every workout. But when you record like once a week, you're just pushing yourself. You're making it more fun, because you know people are going to see it. All right? And it just, you just gain all these benefits, from being like a little podcaster, little guy, talking to himself, blah blah blah. And we reach a point where how do I say it? Nowadays I had one guy tell me that he downloaded my videos to listen to them on a plane ride. So like we reached a point where people were listening to my podcast, to my videos, in the air, 10,000 feet in the air on the plane. Kirill is everywhere. Kirill is in the fucking stratosphere. Okay? And it's very fucking based. It really warms my heart. It really warms my heart. Another thing I want to talk about is comedian Bill Burr. Comedian Bill Burr has a podcast. I was listening to him while I was chilling at night. Okay? I was just trying to play a game. And I'm listening to Bill Burr, and he talks about how he discovered that when he was acting, he started getting all these emotions out. He started crying and shit. And he learned that, not from a therapist, he learned from himself that your body like stores like aggravating emotions in the stomach or something. And when you start to act, when you practice acting, you start to really like get into it, and you start breaking down, you start crying, and it's like you cry it out. So you cry out the accumulated energy. And this is something I felt with myself, where when I have stress, when I have done something I'm angry about, something I am not happy with myself about, when I have stress, I would sometimes hear myself kind of hiss a little. Like I would do these involuntarily Freudian slips. So like I would hiss a little. I would be like, I would like play with my fingers, like and I would make these like faces. That's like the stress, the anger, just wanting to get out, and you want to let it out. Okay, so that's why I always say, don't let people get away with it. Curse them, okay? Fucking wish them ill, okay? Somebody's a piece of shit, curse them. If I wasn't venting out, if I wasn't cursing, Freudian slips and stuff, I would be like way worse. And this year, for some reason, literally for no reason at all, this year has been one of the hardest years. I just like have brutal anxiety all the time. I have like depression. It's like we can't even get a reason, because I know like I didn't have to work this year, so I should be happier than ever. I get to do everything I wanted, and I do mean that. Like I got to do kind of whatever I want. And I am just breaking down. Getting like fucking depressed, anxiety, and it's like, dude, why? We got into. I listened to Retard Maxing with this guy Elisha, which is a Jewish name, so I'm kind of. I try not to trust him too much, if you know what I mean. And he basically jokes. He says that if you think too hard, you're just gonna go crazy. And usually I would call him an idiot, but there is some truth to that. Like there are times where you wanna think, and there are times when you just gotta stop listening to your mind, to your worries, to your fears, and and just like take it easy, because you know what they say, well, when somebody has too much free time, he starts going insane. He starts going like depressed and crazy. You know, when people get rich, when they don't have to work, where they have like a big break, and they just don't know what to do with themselves, that they go crazy. Now you are alone with your mind, and your mind starts to make out problems out of nowhere. It's kind of like you start destroying yourself, you know. You start getting like very, very, you know, like a child. Like a child. You start getting like a child, bro. And sometimes you gotta be like, listen up. I gotta enjoy myself. I gotta keep my mind empty. Like, stop thinking. You gotta have like 10 minutes per day. Shut the mind up. Just look at a candle. So, in my meditations, I mean, there's lots of ways that you can do it, but in my meditations, I just look at a candle and I listen to the rain. And it's very good. It's very good, and I believe it to be a promising ADHD cure. It kind of regulates your mind, makes you like slow down the ADHD energy. It kind of adjusts your mental energy, you know. So when you look at my mind, or you look at the mind of an ADHD person, you would feel a lot like it's an unstable ball bouncing around, about to about to burst, about to. It's very unstable, like a crazy bouncing ball. You know, like you have a fucking popcorn machine in your mind. The popcorns are popping. You know. You didn't know about that, but now you know. So you're like, can I actually adjust my energy like you're adjusting the rate of the engine? Like in the old cars, when you used to have a carburetor, before direct injection, you used to have a carburetor, and you can actually adjust your engine RPMs with a screwdriver, and that is your idle RPMs, how fast the engine works during idle when it's not moving. You could adjust that with a screwdriver, so you can make it like, or you can make it like, you know, you can adjust it. So in the same way, you can adjust your mind, you can kind of condition it. So if somebody works as a police officer, you would realize that police officers tend to live like a stressful life. If they're constantly getting in fights with drunk assholes, and everybody's like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna beat you up, cop, I'm gonna spit on you. So they live this life where every day you go to work, and you wanna snap, you wanna yell, people are yelling at you, and you just, they become mental wrecks, okay? So if you're constantly getting into arguments and fights with people, you're gonna be all day, you're gonna condition yourself to be very angry and jumpy, like you're on cocaine, right? So, for example, you see these drugs like cocaine and meth, and they make people very jumpy, they make them unstable. A lot of crazy energy, very energetic. You see that the human body is made to operate on a Like when you go to sleep to repair your body, to grow muscles and repair damage, to rest, your body wants to be in a sleepy, relaxed state. It wants yellow and red white. It doesn't like blue white, okay? And your body, it wants to be relaxed, or you're not gonna have a good sleep, okay? And so even your body knows. That's like proof enough. Now, there are times where you want your vibrations to be like more energetic, right? However, usually we find out that you do want to be alert. You can still be alert. You can still be ready to get in a fight, awake, but you can have your mind waves kind of peaceful. Because we find out that there's like these mental diseases. I mean, I don't want to necessarily call them mental diseases. You can see when, let's say a woman, for the example, let's say a woman, even though it's literally me, but let's say a woman has become like very, she gets angry and emotional at every little thing, just like a woman during her cycle, right? So you have this person and she has like a meltdown. She has like gets emotional, has a meltdown over any little thing. She feels like it's a big thing. In her mind, it's like a big problem, right? So you learn that when you are in this state, it is a state. It's kind of like having the flu, right? So it's a sick state, and it's fake. The problems are not as big as they appear. It's literally a nothing burger. But because you're in this state, your mind has become very wounded. Your mind has become very inflamed. And we can metaphorically say that you feel like you're on fire, right? But the truth is, you're just feeling like you're on fire, and every little thing sets you off. And you can readjust your brain waves, particularly through meditation, right? To start being like in a more peaceful state, because there is no, I don't see a benefit in constantly being like in a meltdown mode. It's like when you have sex, when you masturbate every day and you lose a lot of sperm, and you feel very depressed, you feel very emotional like a woman. That is like a similar thing I'm talking about. However, it is not only caused by sex and masturbation. It's you can just be traumatized, or you can have some kind of nutrient deficiencies, some kind of chemicals in the brains got mixed up, right? And and guess what? Guess what happens when you're a dumb woman? Guess what happens? They tell you, if you take Zoloft, if you take these meds, it's gonna make you feel better. It's like this is like a synthetic drug. But let's say you don't have some kind of a chemical imbalance in the brain. Let's say you just have a mind inflammation, right? So you can get laid, you can get some pleasure to calm down, or you can get a drug that's very addictive, and there's no problem with your brain chemistry, but this drug just temporarily makes you feel drugged, makes you feel better. And then you get addicted to it, but your mind is still inflamed. So if you don't meditate, first, you gotta solve the problem. Is there a problem that's making you stressed? Then you realize, okay, there's no problem. I still feel very like anxiety and shit. So now I still feel anxiety. Now I gotta learn to meditate, because this is just myself. There's no reason for me to be like this. If there's no problem, why do I feel so much anxiety? And it's like, well, turns out for some reason you just feel very, like you're on fire. You feel very jumpy. So in my case, I found out that when I was meditating for a completely different reason, I was meditating, and I found out that I started becoming more lethargic, and it was scary. Like during the day, I started feeling more kind of like dead inside. And it was a scary feeling, but it was actually a good thing. You haven't felt this much at peace before, so you think it's like new and scary. But it's a good thing, All right, I think that we were too serious. We were too serious, and we need to end up the podcast with an anterior joke. Okay, for those of us who understand, for those of us who are anterior pilled. Okay, so we're gonna do the anterior in Dune. The Tim Tams must fall. Okay, oi! I have raped Paul Atreides, and now I am Lisan Al Gaib, exclaimed anterior Al Gaib. It is I who am above the Bene Gesserit, for I am the Queen of Arrakis, which is Dune. The Tim Tams must fall into my mouth like black penises. It is I who let the sandworms eat Buddy Matthews because he fucking sucks. His PPL gape doesn't work, and I cry when we have sex. What a fucking faggot, bros. And he made me eat McDonald's. The fucking faggot can't even cook an egg. I am the anterior Al Gape, and I deserve home-cooked meals, Tim Tams, and sex. You will worship me.